and welcome to Awaken Your Human Design. My name is Moni. This is Danny. And for the week of July 31st through August 4th, the sun is in gate 33 and the earth in gate 19.
This is the end of, aren't we? We're approaching the end of civilization.
As a
So,
quarter, wow, it sounded so epic. The quarter of civilization.
yep. That's funny. Yeah, that is funny, isn't it? We're
Yeah.
approaching the end of the quarter of civilization. So 3319 brings this wanting of an approach. And I can't wait to talk about why do we then retreat, which is 33. This will be good.
So thank you to everyone who is watching and liking and subscribing and hanging out with us. We really appreciate you. And let's get into it. So here we have our mandala wheel view, the sun in gate 33, which is retreat, and that is a throat center gate, and then the earth in gate 19, which is approach, and that's a root center gate.
Yeah, we're coming up on it's sort of the end of mutation, which means we're about to start all over again. But really, what we're looking at is our movement into the next quarter. 33, this great gate of retreat and privacy. When you start to read it, it'll make a lot of sense.
Here we have the sun in gate 33, which is retreat and privacy, active withdrawal, and the transformation of a weak position into strength. Gate 33 is a throat center gate, part of collective circuitry, so sharing is our keynote, and it's part of the sensing circuit specifically. Gate 33 links up with gate 13, which is the listener, and the 1333 is the channel of the prodigal. Retreat arises in the moment of uncertainty between the completed experience and a new one. Pause allows reflection on what to take forward while renewing strength. There's a need for privacy joined by the collective's voice of I remember. When the time is right, you'll be asked to share your wisdom that becomes a part of the greater community and humanity's evolving consciousness.
And it's that sharing, which is what creates the privacy. The privacy, it's a two-part process, withdrawal and retreat into a form of a privacy, standing away from what would stand above it in the throat center, gate 56, to the stimulation. Its foundation is the wisdom in a weak position to recognize that survival demands complete withdrawal. The foundation of this gate is complete withdrawal, not forever withdrawal, just complete withdrawal. You know, if I inhale real deep and I hold my breath, I'm completely not breathing. Doesn't mean I don't breathe. you know, same thing. So in bold, it's retreat when one realizes that they are in a weak position. And by the way, the weak position is all the information is in. The weak position is lots of info is in, and it came in an abstract way through a ton of experience. So imagine you get hit with a bunch of stuff, and what do you say? I need a minute, right?
Give me a
Or
second, let me process.
Right. And technically, this is even what ends up being the explanation of the entire way, including everything from 35 all the way down to 41, the whole emotional process of feelings, desire, and experience. So all of that is the prodigal's got a big job. And the listener in gate 13 does do its share of formalizing, and making what came in becomes something. But 33 must retreat to basically assemble it for manifestation. This is the docking pad and the launch pad. Docks all of the information, and the launch has got to wait for the countdown, quite literally, before it goes. And because 33, all gates in the throat are manifesting something, period. So that's what 33 is here to do, to tell the final story that says, I remember what took place. I heard from this one that this happened, and that from that one that this happened. And when you put it all together, the prodigal ends up telling a story. And it can be a mundane story in a short-term way, just like 56, stringing together short-term activities, or it can be a great big consequential, prodigal remembering. All I know is, like the Kung Fu master, this gate must retreat and be in its privacy, and be in its, almost like it's in its rightness, be in its retreat, where almost like a hermit that must isolate in a way before it can come back out and say something about it. All this stuff, by the way, can happen quickly. It can happen in the same evening, in the same conversation. You know, you just say, you're not saying anything. You're not saying anything yet. And then a minute later, now you're saying something. You came out of that retreat of not saying something into saying something. So, and it's consequential is the point. It terminates the whole process of the experiential way.
Here we have gate 19, which is approach and wanting. That all things are interrelated is apparent through the action of approach. Gate 19 is a root center gate, part of tribal circuitry. So support is our keynote, and it's part of the ego circuit specifically. Gate 19 links up with gate 49, which is revolution, and the 1949 make up the channel of synthesis. Gate 19 fuels two essential human mandates, the need for resources and the need for spirit. These mandates set us up to interact and bond with others. Awareness of what resources are needed for everyone to survive, thrive, and achieve their personal and community potential.
Yeah, the personal community is really important to parse those two out because the foundation of this is that approach, even though it's wanting and it needs to do so, does not lose track of its individual personal destiny, so to speak, that it doesn't lose track of who it is. In other words, this act of approaching something, just like we're approaching the beginning of a new quarter of initiation on the other side of the wheel.
So on this side of the wheel, if you're looking flip side, then we'd be going into the initiation. So this is then what, in the late winter, early
This
spring?
is, yeah, late winter, early spring. This is where we come into gate 13. After this is gate 13 and begins the quarter of initiation. And all I'm getting at is that 19 wants to get there. It wants this thing to start. This approach is like the fuse to go ahead and initiate the sort of the bang that takes place in gate 13. Gate 13 is a little bit like the Big Bang, and this is like the fuse up to it. You know, someone lights it and they want, but that want does not come at the expense of your own individual character. It's not supposed to. If it does, then it becomes the not self of just wanting and needing, regardless of your own personal character. And that's never good. Never good to give up yourself for the sake of something else. 19 actually is this incredible capacity to start this tribal bargaining way that demands that everything support everything else. And 19 is the fuel to gather resources, to bring resources, the want of the resources. And once that resource of mainly the energy of the being shows up and gives of itself, the tribe can live. And each being comes in like that. Look at, it's like people falling into a hole. Do 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 you know. And 19 is like, oh, you've fallen into the right place. You fell into good hands, is what 19 is looking to set up. It's a constant approach so it can fall backwards into good hands. And on the other side, 49, you know, for this channel of synthesis, when the principles are right, meaning 49 is accepting of, essentially is accepting of 19, and it's sort of flirting. That's what it does. It flirts with 49, and if it accepts it, then the synthesis is from not tribe into tribe, from not supportive into supportive. This we synthesize. This is the synthesis of community. All things macro and micro, which shows up in gate 37, are made apparent through the act and installing of a community. And 19 is the resource that starts all that. And its need is, and its wanting is pretty potent. I'm at gate 19, and sometimes I'm hungry for it, and I even lose track. It's like, I got this. Hey, let's do that. You know, I got things, I bring stuff. And it can almost seem a little bit like you're bringing too much. You know, that can, it happens to me sometimes. Dan, enough. You know, you brought too much. Oh, okay. That's okay. It's in the spirit of it all. The tribe will pick up that spirit. The tribe will choose to see good enough, better more than less, you know, usually, and then 19 can relax into the whole thing. By the way, if you have gate 19 and you find yourself in the right sort of tribal bargain community family, you start to relax. 19 relaxes. And then it's happy to be a little bit like a gate 40, and it does a lot of work to bring resources in. It just keeps, oh, let me bring this. Oh, I bought that. Oh, I got some more of this. Oh, I planted a bunch of that, whatever it is. So 19 is it's a lot of fun. It's a good family starter. Yep. It's good for the dowry. So if you're going to marry off your firstborn daughter, make sure she has a 19. She comes with a 19,
Comes
an
with the
extra.
resources.
Yep, an extra 19 in the dowry. That's what a dowry is. A dowry is gate 19.
Yeah, it's the resources that you're bringing in.
Hmm.
That's cool.
So these things go together, 19 and 33. When we get onto the incarnation crosses, you'll see how they go together.
Next up, we have our incarnation crosses for the week. First up, we have the right angle cross of the 4 ways, which adds the 24 and 44 to the 13 and 19 we've been discussing. These are people who retreat to reflect on experience before sharing their insights, memories, or principles. They need to be able to enclose themselves in the sanctuary privacy of their own realm or room. Then we'll move into the juxtaposition cross of retreat, which adds the 2 and the 1. These are people who express the need for beauty in life. The aesthetics of retreat begin with enough food to eat and a roof over your head and your own space. And finally, we'll move into the left angle cross of refinement, which also adds the 2 and the 1. And these are people who know that it is not enough to have and protect a home. Life is enriched by making it beautiful, beauty that heals.
It's so fitting that at the end of this quarter, where we started in mutation, the mutative way, right? First 3 gates or 4 gates, 3, I think, were all individual. And then we got this incredible manifestation process. And then throughout the middle of this quarter, we were building and reflecting and building and reflecting and constantly. And now we get to this, we finally end up at the 4 ways. This is the way of refinement, because the 4 ways each have a way, and it's partly described in its left angle. And so, in order for the 4 ways to mean something, to really be able to retreat and reflect, that's what it's doing. It's ultimately refining it. And look what we come into again. We come into the 2 most, I don't know if they're the most, but I'll call them incredibly mutative gates, 2 and 1. And the power of the direction of the unique towards beauty. And that's what retreat is starting to see, to express the need for beauty in life. This is part of the refining process. Gate 2 says, give me beauty quickly and let's work towards it. That's what the 14 does, generating the energy for gate 2. And gate 1 says, I'm so awesome, let's contribute. And its uniqueness comes out in a pulse and it gets contributed. This refines what the prodigal went and retreated for in the first place. So I find this whole incarnation cross is very fitting to leave civilization and go into duality. We are refining things. You can look at it like we've refined the nest so that mother can lay an egg, so that the hen can lay its eggs, or the nesting is complete. This is the refinement.
Finally, we have our hexagrams for the week. First up, we have the sun in gate 33, which is retreat, and the trigrams are heaven over mountain. The image reads, below heaven is the mountain, retreat. A noble one keeps at a distance from small people, not with hatred, but through respect. The mountain stands firm and still, and seems to be joined more with heaven than with earth. The noble one who retreats up the mountain shares this character. Staying close to what inspires, he is naturally distanced from what would diminish him. This happens through respect and without hostility, because to hate something is to take the ugliness you perceive into your heart.
That's a wicked interesting. I'm looking up 33 line 6 just because I have a feeling. So hang on a second.
Dissociation.
Disassociating, the ability to let go. So I just find that very interesting because after the mountain, which has more in common with heaven, and the retreat is here to give us beauty, and technically that reaches towards heaven totally as it relates to how they would have been writing this. But also, whatever happens up there, sooner or later, something comes down off of the mountain. It says the ability to let go, the will to concentrate on revitalization and to not be handicapped by persistent recriminations. The recriminations when the process turns into something that is hypocritical, really. doesn't do what it says, do what I say, not what I do type thing. But as long as it's not that, it comes down off of the mountain. All 6 lines are coming off of the roof, coming down from the mountain and joining up with the people, not as anything other than the living embodiment of what the retreat was for. So all of the heaven drips onto the mountain rolls downhill to the people, and finally the retreat is over. That's the thing. The retreat is there, just like an emotional wave is there to go through its lows so it can become high again. The retreat is there to find out and bring back the experiential process into form through the throat and into manifestation into the world. So I thought that was pretty good.
And then we have hexagram. Then we have the Earth in gate 19, which is approach, or in my I Ching book, it reads as nearing, like to get closer to, near. And the trigrams are Earth over lake. The image reads, above the lake is Earth, nearing. A noble one teaches and reflects untiringly, accepts and protects the people without limit. A noble one has the inner reflected depths of the lake, contained within the protective, accepting qualities of the earth. She is the one with endless capacity to reflect, interact, and explain, to shelter and nurture people as a parent protects a child. She has the strength and maturity, and so naturally she becomes responsible.
The fierceness to be loyal, and that's a big piece of the resource that 19 would bring in the first place, is its loyalty and willingness, because it's about to point at the ego, obviously. So it doesn't need to be an ego being to be willing. I'm a 19, and if I'm willing, I'm totally in the tribe suddenly, like right away. I see where my acceptance into the tribe comes. It comes through my willingness, more than anything. And the earth and the lake just seem so grounded that they bring the grounding of that into the act of approach. What do they call nearing, becoming near?
So earth over lake. So I would go from the bottom up. So it's grounded in the foundation of lake, lake being abundance. It's joyous. It's very happy. It's like a lake full of like happy fishes, like a koi pond, right?
And reflections.
And then earth is that pure receptive, magnetic, like creation of all kind of energy. So like earth over lake, it's kind of interesting because like you kind of imagine like earth to be at the bottom and then lake to be on top. But with this setup, grounded in abundance and joyousness, and then the fertility. So that makes sense in like that tribal fertility relationship.
I bring fertility. I bring my willingness. I bring my loyalty. I bring a bunch of stuff.
Fertility and abundance. Like that makes sense.
And I got cash. Right. Sorry, what did you say?
No, that was cool. I actually like that you said that because it kind of linked the things together really nicely.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Tying it all together, what can we tell our audience to kind of see and expect and play with the sun in gate 33 and the earth in gate 19?
Recognize that twice a year this shows up, once in the sun, once in the earth, flipped from each other. And just recognize that now's not a time for a bunch of necessary bold action. Now's a time for you to really reflect. 19 wants action. 33 wants the opposite of action at first, and then it would like action. Because once it remembers, it didn't remember for nothing. It remembered so it can share that and something can happen. So they both want something. It's just that allow what 19 would do and approach and have resources and sort of start something. Allow that to take a back seat this week. We don't slow down very much. I recommend everyone slow down and allow this gate of remembrance to do what it does, which is remain a little bit private and remember.
That's
So
cool.
no bold,
no what?
I said, so no bold or sudden stuff necessarily.
Yeah, it's interesting because they're both part of projected channels. So it is very like don't initiate kind of energy. So it's almost being grounded in almost in like that desire to approach, but also like waiting for when it's correct to approach. Because and then even 33, it's like that retreat. So that's kind of interesting.
It is interesting. All I know is this reflectiveness is lost with hasty action. Treat it like an emotional wave. Like I said earlier, is how I would treat this. No hasty action this week. I mean, if hasty action is absolutely required, or you're already at the point where you're starting a business and it starts this week and it's go time, please go, don't wait. I get it. But if you have the capacity to reflect on everything that's been so far this year, for instance, reflect all the way back to the beginning of the year is what I would suggest, because there's going to be something there for you, by the way. It's not just for you, it's for everyone. It's to be shared. So any value you're going to have in being able to share this requires you to sit back and just reflect on the events of the last month or last year or last few months, however that works for you, or anything you've been reflecting on already. Stop, smell the roses this week.
Yeah, it's like pause, retreat, then approach. When it's
Yeah.
right. When it's right.
Yeah, pause, retreat, retreat, and then approach. Yeah, that's the formula for this week. That's the word formula.
Pause, retreat, approach.
Yeah, repeat. Right, exactly. So that, I mean, that's about all I can really tell people to do for this 33 is unique, because in retreat we are only ourselves. You're not retreating into something else. It's really your privacy. You may choose to share with others. Actually, now would be a good time to find out how much do you want to share your retreat with others. Because I suppose you could be retreating, you're a married couple and you retreat with your spouse into something. Even though it's your retreat, someone else can be there. So see what that shares like while that's happening as well. Find out, you'll end up finding out who loves you, that's for sure.
Well, thank you, Danny. Thank you for liking and subscribing and hanging out with us. And we'll catch you next week for another transit.
Thanks, everyone. Love you so much. See you next week.